Hey legends, what's up? It's Dark from Big Dumb Gaming, and it's time. Legion Timewalking is upon us, the Mage Tower is back, and with that comes a new set of DK armor to obtain. And I'm gonna help you get it, because I'm a fucking legend. Alright, so video breakdown here. We're gonna cover off the talents, consumables, macros, gearing, gems, what works, what doesn't work in the tower. We're gonna give you a comprehensive breakdown of Phase 1 and Phase 2 mechanics, and then I'm going to walk you through the video from the PTR kill. So there's a lot to get through here. There's of course timestamps in the description. If you want to skip to somewhere, use that, go ahead. Disclaimer, on the PTR, I used nothing from the old Timewalking world. I used no legendaries that have been disabled or anything like that. I just used my Shadowlands gear, my Shadowlands trinkets, my Shadowlands consumables, and I had zero issues in completing the tower. There's a whole bunch of guides going around at the moment with lots of awesome information about chromie gear and Legion Timewalking bits and old enchants and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going to cover all that, but it's not required to finish these towers. If you haven't done that stuff, don't freak out. You can still absolutely do this, and I am going to help you get there. So let's dive in. Let's get stuck into the talents. Okay, so talents wise. So when I did this on the PTR, I ran with a build of 2-2-2. 1-1-1-3. So it's not a bad build to do this with. There are a couple of changes that you can make though, and we'll cover them off now. So level 15, Blood Drinker or Heartbreaker. Blood Drinker is probably the best choice from a min-max perspective here. Blood Drinker is really nice in Phase 1 with Aura of Decay when you're ducking out, because you can still get damage into Inquisitor Varus from the outside of the circle whilst Aura is dropping. It's also really nice in Phase 2 with Cruel, just from the damage perspective and the drain from Blood Drinker. However, if you do not want an extra ability to track, Heartbreaker is absolutely fine. You'll still gain value from Heartbreaker on the adds in regards to generating runic power, and from a damage perspective, there's not going to be a lot that actually separates them to make you be able to complete the tower or not based on this talent choice. So pick what you're comfortable with is best here. Level 25, Hemostasis, as it's been for all of Shadowlands, and so it shall be forever whilst this is on a talent row with something, you will pick this and nothing else. Level 30, Relish in Blood or Blood Tap. Relish in Blood is more than a fine pick here if you are not comfortable or don't want to manage blood tap charges, if you just don't want to think about it. I actually didn't even remember to look at my talents when I went over to Mage Tower, I don't think, in regards to Relish in Blood and Blood Tap on PTR, and I just ran with Relish in Blood and had zero issues. Blood Tap in a min-max setting is going to be a better choice, especially when you're getting into Phase 2 with Cruel and you want to start having resources readily available to handle Annihilates with Rune Tap and things like that. So Blood Tap's great, but Relish in Blood is also a good choice. Level 35, Will of the Necropolis. There's no change here, it's too stupidly strong to not choose it. Level 40, Grip of the Dead. Grip of the Dead is pretty handy with the Nether Horror adds, and it's just a better pick than anything else that's on this row. You don't need the reduction in grip, and Wraithwalk won't negate the knockback from the Infernals. It does get you around faster, but there is really no need for it. So Grip of the Dead just has a higher value point than the other two. Level 45, Voracious or Bloodworm. So Voracious is a really solid pick here and the recommended one. It gains serious value in Phase 2 when things start to get a little bit hairy. Bloodworms is certainly a better damage option, but what generally happens is your Bloodworms get yeeted fairly quickly by the Infernal's Pulse and things like that. And if your worms are coming out and they're dying, then there's realistically that talent is doing absolutely nothing for you, whereas Voracious, you're getting the value from that. So Voracious is the pick here. Level 50, Red Thirst or Bone Storm. So Red Thirst, again, is a really nice choice here, especially moving into Phase 2. And this fight is very much designed where you either win it or you lose it in Phase 2 on Cruel. That's what this whole fight is about. Your ability to have further access to Vampiric Blood is certainly a large bonus in Phase 2. Bone Storm is really nice, and it's what I used on the PTR. It's really nice at just cleaning up the adds really quick, especially if you can put them on top of Varus and just get the cleave from Bone Storm to melt them down while you're still melting into Varus. However, Red Thirst probably the safer pick, but both are absolutely viable. All right, moving from talents into consumables. All right, so looking at the consumable side of things, Goblin Glider Kits. Now, if you are an engineer, ensure that you have a glider on your cloak. It is bound and on your bars. If you're not an engineer, make sure that you pick up some Goblin Glider Kits. These are extremely valuable in covering up your mistakes. If you get hit by an Infernal Smash, or you're not facing an eye when the beam finishes and you get yeeted off into Narnia, you can glide your way quickly back onto the platform, reset, and continue. I think there's even a save from a Goblin Glider on the PTR kill video I've got, so absolutely make sure you've got these. Drums. All drums actually provide the same benefit in Timewalking, so use whichever ones are on the AH and the cheapest if you can't make them. The current drums in Shadowlands are drums of deathly ferocity. You want to ensure that you have these ready, and you are only ever going to drums in phase 2 when Cruel comes down. You're never drumsing in phase 1, always phase 2 when Cruel comes down, as Cruel is the damage check and what you need to beat before he kills you with Annihilates. Scrolls. BFA scrolls are another nice easy power boost for you here. War Scroll of Battle Shout and War Scroll of Fortitude are absolutely worth picking up. Runes, Augment Runes will grant you +5 primary stat. So the Veiled Augment Rune from Shadowlands does this. If you purchase the Lightforge Augment Rune back in Legion, you should be able to bust that out as well. When I did check, it said level 49 it was capped at, but I'm assuming tomorrow, I don't know what was going on there. I'm assuming this will work tomorrow. Pots. There's a few options here. So Potion of Prolonged Power will grant you +40 primary stat for 60 seconds, which is absolutely fine if you've got a bunch of that left over. BFA pots, the Superior Battle Potion of Strength will grant you 105 primary stat for 25 seconds, which makes them the go-to choice here. The Shadowlands pot, the Spectral Strength pot, will only give you +54 primary for 25 seconds. So if you are going to go down the Shadowlands route, I would actually go with the Potion of Phantom Fire, as you're going to get more single target value out of that than the Shadowlands Strength pot. But BFA pot, if you can, Superior Battle Potion of Strength. Health pot wise, the Legion Health pot, Astral Healing Potion, is actually the best one. 4,950 health return from that one. The BFA Abyssal Healing pot will restore 4,400, and the Shadowlands Spiritual Healing pot will kick you back 2,200. Weapon oils, Shadow Core oil is 100% the play here. Flask wise, BFA flasks leading the charge here. 31 primary stat from the Greater Flask of the Undertow. Legion Flask, the Countless Armies, will get you +21 primary, and if you can't be bothered with any of that, your Shadowlands Flask will give you 20 primary. Food-wise, BFA Borealis Blood Sausage will get you +13 primary, Missa Pandaria Sea Mist Rice Noodles will get you 10 primary, and the Shadowlands Feast of the Gluttonous Hedonism will get you 7 primary. So BFA Blood Sausage, if you got it, is definitely the play. If you're chasing secondary stats over primary, you could go with the Sweet Silver Grill Sausage, will get you 18 versatility. Armor kits wise, Shadowlands Heavy Desolate Armor Kit is the play here, giving you +10 stamina. And that is pretty much it for consumables, guys. So let's talk macros. Okay guys, so there is only one really important macro that you need for this tower, and that is a focus interrupt macro. In phase 1, you want to make Inquisitor Varus your focus target, and every time he casts Drain Life, you want to press the button for your focus interrupt macro, and it's going to interrupt that. In phase 2, when Cruel comes down, you set him as your focus target, and every time Cruel casts Twisted Reflection, you hit your button, it interrupts it, takes the brain power out of it, you're done. Now, you could also go with a focus target asphyxiate macro for Varus and for Cruel as well if you wanted to. However, not really required. The focus interrupt one, though, is an absolute that I wouldn't go past. So it's on the screen now. It's in the description. Make sure you use that for Mind Freeze. Okay, so enchants wise, so enchants are going to depend a lot on the gear that you've actually gone and farmed out. Now, if you've gone full neckbeard mode, which is absolutely fine for Timewalking, and you've got Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, Tuma Sargeras, socketed gear that's, all around that level 50 mark, because the Mage Tower scales you to 50, so nothing over 50 you really wanted in that regard. This will mean that you can apply a lot of the old world enchants. Now, keep in mind, if you went solely for Throne of Thunder or Siege of Orgrimmar, your gear will be around that sort of level 45 mark, which means that you're missing out on a lot of stamina. So just be aware of that. Tuma Sargeras is your best bet if you are going for the socket farm. I think like Alifar and normal to make sure you stay under level 50. If you didn't do any of that, just run your Shadowlands gear, run your Shadowlands enchants, you'll be fine. If you did go full into this though, I am going to cover you off now. So neck-wise, Mark of the Hidden Satire, Mark of the Claw or Mark of the Trained Soldier. Shoulders, Greater Tiger Fang Inscription. Cloak, Fortified Leech. Chest, you want Eternal Stats. Wrists, Exceptional Strength. Hands, Eternal Strength. Belt, you're going to put a Living Steel Belt Buckle on there. Legs, you're going with Angerhide Leg Armor. Feet, you're going to put Greater Assault on there. Rings, a Cord of Versatility or Tenon of Versatility. And weapon, Rune of the Fallen Crusader, because we would never use anything else ever, ever, ever. All right, gems wise, if you've gone full neckbeard for your Timewalking Fiesta, you want to fill it with some gems. So your meta gem choices, Reverberating Primal Diamond from Mr. Pandaria or Reverberating Shadow Spirit Diamond from Cataclysm are your choices. Your strength gem wise, you can pick up the 7 strength Leviathan's Eye, you can only put one of them in. Same with the +6 strength Kraken's Eye, the +6 strength Saber's Eye, and then you can fill the rest out with +4 strength Bold Queen's Garnets, which are selling for an absolute fortune on the auction house at the moment. Otherwise, as I said, stick with your Shadowlands gear, stick with your Shadowlands verse gems, you'll be fine. Gear-wise, I am not going to lay out a BIS Timewalking set that's made up from Chromie Timewalking gear and Legion TOS socket items and Garrosh heirloom weapons and all that kind of stuff. It's just not required. And it would take far too much effort to obtain, I think, and you would be better off just putting more attempts into this to complete the challenge. So there's a bunch of stuff on the screen at the moment if you want to be bothered doing that, but you just don't need to. Trinkets wise, Decanter of Anima Charge Winds, which is from Sanguine Depths in Shadowlands. This was busted on PTR. I didn't use it, but I heard a whole lot of people talking about the splash damage from this was absolutely stupidly busted. So if that stayed the same, this is a great trinket to have. Dragonspine Trophy from Gruul in TBC scales really well, apparently. Unstable Arcano Crystal from Earthworm Jim in Legion is really good. The Blood Spatter Scale, I used this on PTR, and this was great for clearing up the Nether Horrors really quickly or using it in an Annihilation cast on Cruel. So that's the other side in Shadowlands. The Pocket Size Computation device from Mechagon with a red punch card was doing a hell of a lot of damage too. And if you don't have any of these stuff, just use your Shadowlands trinkets, your Reactive Matrix, your Reflecty one from Tazavesh, I can't remember what it's called, but lots of options. But, don't get too stressed about this stuff. A lot of this encounter is down to mechanical execution, not the trinket you have equipped, unless it's really, really busted. All right, so what does work, what doesn't work? So we've been over the stuff that does work. What doesn't? Any form of borrow power is now scrapped in the Mage Tower. No tier sets, no old world legendaries, no covenant abilities, no Legion legendaries. It's all been wiped. It's just you. It's just you, bruh. All right. So let's break down the fight now. Let's go through phase 1. Let's go through phase 2. And let's break it down. All right, so phase 1 things to know. So phase 1 is going to be you fighting Inquisitor Varus and revolves around managing your stacks of Aura of Decay, kicking his Drain life, killing the Nether Horrors before they kill you or Prophet Valen, and not getting knocked off the platform by Eyeballs or Infernals. So, important things to know. What is Aura of Decay? So Inquisitor Varus is surrounded by a big bad circle, and when you enter that circle, you will start gaining stacks of Aura of Decay. This reduces your maximum health and its stacks. So I'd recommend going to around 4-5 max stacks before ducking out and waiting for that debuff to drop before you go back in. Mindrend. This is an interruptible cast that deals hefty-ish damage to the target. And honestly, as long as you don't let your stacks go too high, you can manage letting most of these go through. However, I wouldn't recommend using Mind Freeze on these, as you always want to save Mind Freeze for the drain life. However, you do have things like Asphyxiate that you can use to interrupt that. You can also grip Inquisitive Heiress, but keep in mind when you grip Inquisitive Heiress, you grip the Aura of Decay circle on you too. So if you're trying to drop the stacks of that and you grip him to interrupt a cast, you'll get another stack of Aura of Decay. Drain life, this is the heal that I've been banging on about. You have to kick it straight away. If a couple of ticks get off, it's not the end of the world, but it prolongs the fight, and in this encounter, it's just not ideal. Tormenting Eyes, so these are the little eyes that will spawn around the room and they will lock onto you with a green beam. After the channel finishes, if you are not facing the eye, then you will get punted to Nana. Now either face the eye or you can hit them with Death's Caress or Blood Boil. They are immune to physical damage though, so just keep that in mind. You will have to sink runes in generally to kill them. I can't remember how Blood Boil went, but when I had the chance, if nothing was up and I was dropping stacks of Aura of Decay, so I couldn't melee anything anyway, I was just sinking Death's Caress into them. It's the one time that ability's been good. Smoldering Infernals, these adds spawn in phase 1 and phase 2. Now they don't actually die, or they're up in phase 1, sorry, and they carry through into phase 2. They don't continue to spawn in phase 2. They walk around and they pulse damage, which drains their own health. And then when they finish, they take a little spell, they recharge again, and they're up and they start walking around again. Now, what they do is they do a smash, and it's a large telegraphed kind of shadowy dust frontal that will go down. If you're in range of that smash, you will get punted and you will go yeeting off the platform. So just be really aware of them. Never waste time DPSing the Infernals. They'll kill themselves. It's a waste of your time. Just ignore them. Don't get hit by the smash. Nether Horrors. These spawn in phase 1 and in phase 2 also, and they will stack a debuff when hitting you called Sight Helens hitting on you. How you doing? This increases your arcane damage taken by 10% per stack from them. They will also cast an ability called Netherstorm, which is pulsing damage, and it cleans you up really, really fast. You need to ensure that you pick these up ASAP and you kill them. You really need to be careful if they are in range of Prophet Valen or Corvus in phase 2, because around 2 to 3 ticks of that Netherstorm will actually kill the NPCs and wipe your attempt. Lastly, Prophet Valen. So he's present in some kind of capacity in phase 1. He doesn't do much though. He's spawning some orbs though, which are great. So these orbs instantly heal you and they clear all your debuffs. It'll also interrupt and blind all enemies in the area when you run into these orbs. So you can use them if you've got too many stacks of Aura of Decay and a Mind Rend's going to kill you. You can duck into an orb, delay that cast. If you're really low from the Nether Horrors or they're going to kill you, duck into an orb. If you don't have a kick for drain life, duck into an orb. You see where I'm going with this. But you do want to use your orbs sparingly and smartly. If you can go into phase 2 with a few orbs up, it makes phase 2 far easier than going through with 0 up. Another thing with Prophet Valen as well is try and drag Inquisitive Heiress back at the start towards Valen. It means that he'll DPS and you get a free little bit of extra damage from Prophet Valen, which is better than nothing. Okay, so phase 2. So once you kill Inquisitive Heiress, Cruel will come down and now the fight really gets going. And now Corvus is active and so is Prophet Valen. So now you've got not one NPC that can die really quick, but you've got 2. So there's no more eyes spawning here, which is pretty cool. You'll still have the Nether Horrors. You'll still have your Infernals that you carried through into this phase. And you'll have these brand new cutter beams that will go across the platform. You just have to jump them, otherwise they'll push you if you stand in them and they'll kind of knock you around. This phase is all about overwhelming visuals and making you panic, basically. But what it really comes down to is a DPS race against Cruel and his Annihilates and your ability to manage those Annihilate hits. Now, High Lord Cruel will belt you with an ability called Annihilate. It is a large physical damage hit and the debuff stacks. It means every subsequent Annihilate that comes after that is going to deal more damage. I think it's like 110% a stack. So what you need to do is you need to have a plan in mind for how you are going to manage these hits. And you generally want to be killing him after 4 to 5 actual hits of the Annihilate. The rest of them you want to stretch out with Asphyxiate and with your orbs. So, a roadmap for Annihilate. The first one you can take with nothing. As long as you've got Bone Shield up and some Runic Power to Death Strike after the hit, you're fine. Second one, use Vampiric Blood. The reason you use Vampiric Blood early on is so it's back up towards the business end of Annihilates. Third one, Rune Tap, Bone Shield. You're always going to have Bone Shield up because you're a Pog champ and you're not terrible. Fourth one, Rune Tap and Icebound Fortitude. Fifth one, Rune Tap and Vampiric Blood. And then there can't really be a sixth one. You will probably die. So one thing you can do, which is a bit cheesy if you're a Night Elf, is you can actually Shadow Meld one of the Annihilate casts. If you make sure there's no Nether Horrors up, so they won't Merc, Corvus, or Valen, when Cruel goes to cast Annihilate, halfway through the cast, hit Shadow Meld. He will spin, he will recast Annihilate on his next threat target, which is Corvus. Corvus can take one of those hits, no worries, and once you come out of Shadow Meld, you'll pull aggro back from Cruel. So you can absolutely do this if you're in a tight spot and you are a Night Elf. And as I said, be smart with your orbs. Use them here to delay these. You just want to DPS Cruel down as fast as you can. That's pretty much it. Now, Cruel will also be casting a Twisted Reflection. You need to kick this. If you miss a kick here, basically your attempt is screwed. So unless you can get to an orb like half a second later. Cruel will heal for 5% of his HP each hit he gets off if Twisted Reflection goes off. So you have to interrupt the cast, otherwise the fight just goes too long and you'll die to Annihilate casts. The last thing on Cruel to watch out for is Nether Stomp. So High Lord Cruel will jump on you and leave these giant big green Fel circles, which deals Fel Fire damage and slows you. You need to get out of these ASAP, and you want to try and sort of put them on the outside of the encounter space so they're not around Valen and the orbs he's dropping, so you can get to them easy. So that's it. Simple, eh? All right, let's bring up the video and let's talk through it. Okay guys, so here we are over on PTR. I've made Inquisitor Varus my focus target here for my focus kick macro, and the fight's going to start. Now straight away I'm going to run in and Blood Drinker. Now what I should have done is probably Death Grip Inquisitor Varus back to me, which would have got Prophet Valen involved in doing some damage. So it looks like he is dealing a bit of damage from where he is, so it's not actually too bad. But again, if you grip it back on top, you're going to be assured of that. Now here comes the Drain Life here, and I'm going to interrupt that. Now what I want to talk about, sorry because I've kind of been prattling on so fast here, this is the circle in which you get Aura of Decay from, right? So this Defile looking circle, while you're standing in this, you're gaining stacks of Aura of Decay here. Around 4 to 5 is going to be a safe mark. Now we're pretty good at dealing with magic damage in regards to AMZ and AMS. However, just be aware that the Mind Rends, if you go over that sort of 5 stack, are really going to start to hurt you. So I am going to get to 4 or 5 stacks here. I'm going to get a new stack at 5, I think, and then I'm probably going to move out. On PTR, Mind Rends weren't hitting too hard. They've been buffed. So I'm going to kick that Drain Life there. I'm going to run over and Blood Boil the Corrupted Eye there, the Tormented Eye, sorry. So you can see a Death's Caress, like you can actually see how much damage a Death's Caress does to them. So remember, they're immune to physical damage, but one Death's Caress will melt 30% of their HP off, and then the Blood Plague will actually tick down and kill them. Mind Rends on the outside, remember you've got Asphyxiate if you need to interrupt them, but otherwise just staying outside once your Aura of Decay's dropped off, jumping back in to get damage. Here's the Tormenting Eye up here, and you can see that Inquisitive Stare going off, so I'm facing the beam, because you want to be facing the beam when this channel finishes to avoid the knockback. It was a knockback in Legion. I didn't actually get knocked back, I don't think, in any of these attempts. Inquisitive Stare's reading as a Disorientate, but in Legion it was a punt, so I'm not too sure what's going on with that. Now you can see these shadow doors open up. That's what these Nether Horrors are going to come out. Now I am hitting Varus, so I've got a little bit of that sort of healing aggro going on, and I want to get these Nether Horrors on me ASAP, and you can see what I did there was I waited for them to all come in. I had a full runic bar, and then I just sent Bone Storm into them whilst I was on Varus, melting them down, getting damage on Varus, no worries. Now, Drain Life about to go off, so I've used my Focus Interrupt. I was out of the Aura of Decay as well using my Blood Drinker, so again, good value from Blood Drinker there. As I said, when you're out of Aura of Decay, still being able to get some DPS in. I've got an Infernal now spawning, so you can see here that Infernal, and to get punted, you have to sort of be, if you're on the edge of their range, you won't get punted. If you are close enough though, you will get sent to Narnia. So here comes a Drain Life again, using my Focus Interrupt. My Aura of Decay stacks have dropped now. Here's the Nether Horrors, and here's this Infernal. So these are the situations that you really want to watch out for, because this Infernal will prop, and he will send a big smash right through the middle here. So you just need to watch out for that. He's actually died. No, he hasn't died. He's about to die. So here comes his smash there. So I'm well out of the way of that. Now with the Nether Horrors, on the Guardian Druid challenge, when the Nether Horrors cast Netherstorm, they will chase you. On the Blood DK one, when they prop to do Netherstorm, they will stay in place. So if you don't have anything to kill them, or you don't have anything to mitigate it, or you just don't want to take the damage for it, just run away. Then they'll finish, and then they'll come back to you, and then you can kill them. Watching out for eyes here. Sometimes if you leave the eyes up, you will get double beams as well. So you'll have one going on you one way and one going on you another way. You have to be really careful there, and sometimes you might need to take an orb to make sure that you don't die there. So 4 stacks again here. Just going to move out, clean up these clean up these ads. They do quite a bit of damage. Making sure I'm facing this eye. I'm just going to run over and blood boil it. Drop my stacks again, back in, Drain Life going off, kick. The Blood DK one is a lot longer. Generally, you want to only go through to phase 2 with probably 2 Infernals up as a max. If you're going through with 3 to 4, it's still absolutely doable. It was kind of like that back in Legion, but it certainly makes there's a lot more to concentrate on then. So just trying to get Varus down here, watching the smash, watching this eye, interrupting the Drain Life there. This is all about practice this phase and getting comfortable with handling the mechanics. But as soon as your Aura of Decay is dropped, you want to make sure that you're getting in and you're getting as much damage into Varus as you can, because that way, you know, you want to reduce the amount of Infernals that you're going to have. So just watching this, I was right on the edge of that slam there. You can see this Netherstorm going off here as well. I don't want to get hit by that. That deals a lot of damage. Now I've dropped my Aura of Decay stack, so I'm actually going to push Varus now to get Cruel out. It means I've only got 1 Infernal. I'm going to clean these ads up so I'm not going through... I don't know how I didn't get hit by that Infernal one. Maybe that was a PTR thing, but I probably should have got hit by that Infernal smash. Now I've got 2 Infernals up here. Cruel's come down. I'm going to set him as my focus target. I'm going to pop drums. I'm going to pot. And I'm just going to try and kill Cruel as quickly as I can whilst managing all of the other mechanics. You can see the cutter beams coming through here at the moment. Again, don't get panicky about them. Just jump over them. There's the Fell Stomp and the green. Here comes the Annihilate, and here comes the Twisted Reflection. So making sure I kick them. You can see that first Annihilate. I just have Bone Shield up, and I Death Strike afterwards. Does about 40% of my health, so not a big issue on that first one, not to use a cooldown for. Watching out on the Infernals that are walking around here, trying to kite Cruel around the outside. Now you can see the Shadow Doors coming up, which means the Nether Horrors are going to come out. They are going to run straight for Valen. If you do not get them, I highly suggest running and getting an orb straight away, disorientating them, and then just melting them down as quick as you can, because they will kill Valen. And I had a lot of attempts where he just got absolutely melted because I couldn't get them off, even trying to mass group onto Cruel and things like that. So just be really, really aware of that. So they've gone, 2 of them have gone to him right now. I'm just running in and grabbing an orb, and I'm going to get these down as quick as I possibly can. And then I'm going to return to the outside, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep this area in the middle as free of green circles as I can, so I can have easier access to my orbs if I require. So here comes the second Annihilate, which I took with Vampiric Blood there. So just watching out for these Infernal slams again. So you can see the second Annihilate actually did quite a bit of damage to me, and that was through Vamp Blood, so I didn't really have any DR up. I've asphyxiated Cruel here, so just trying to delay that cast as quick as I can. I'm in close for an orb here. Netherstorm's going to come off on these ads, so I got punted by an Infernal there. I'm just going to run in. No, I'm not. I thought I was going to run in and get an ad thing there. So I've Icebound Fortitude this, so this is a little bit messy, right? So my first one I took with nothing, my first Annihilate. My second one I took with Vampiric Blood, and the third Annihilate I've used Icebound Fortitude. So didn't really go with my plan of nothing, Vampiric Blood, Rune Tap, Icebound Fortitude. And you can see how low I actually dip. So Cruel's on 5% here. There's the Annihilate cast. So the Annihilate cast just took me from 94% with Icebound Fortitude up to 8% health. So crazy how hard it hits. Just be really aware of that. Now I'm going to duck in and grab an orb here. just because there's ads up. You can see the ads near Valen here. You can also see this Infernal here that I have to be really careful of. There's the Twisted Reflection, and I got hit by the Infernal there. So I used my Goblin Glider to save myself. So if I hadn't had Goblin Gliders here, I would have had a 4% wipe, would have been really pissy at myself. Don't be pissy at yourself, guys. Have Goblin Gliders. So here comes my punt moment. That's going to turn around and punt me. I got the interrupt off on Twisted Reflection. I'm going to glide straight back into a pool of shit like a champ. And then I've got 2% left on Cruel to melt down. So I'm just going to clean him up, and that's it. So not really clean, not really great management around Annihilates there. But it worked. But yeah, Annihilate management is really big. So take the first one with nothing, second one Vampiric Blood, third one Rune Tap, fourth one Rune Tap, Icebound Fortitude, fifth one Rune Tap, Vampiric Blood. But I didn't even get there. I got 3 Annihilate hits in. So you should be absolutely fine to murk him down, just focus up, and yeah, you should be absolutely fine. Now, if you need any help with this whatsoever, guys, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I am more than open. If you are really struggling, to jumping in Discord with you. You can share your screen, and I will basically like commentate and walk you through as you're doing the attempts. If that's something that interests you, if you are really struggling, I would like to help as many people out with this as I possibly can. So that is it from me, guys. Any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I'll see you all next time. See you, fam.